Imagine getting in a relationship, investing sometimes years of your time, giving your energy, giving your love, your affection, your attention to someone, really pouring into them and giving this relationship your absolute best, only to find out that not only does this man not love you, but he doesn't even really like you. This is the reality that I have seen so many women deal with. And I want to talk about some of the signs that you are in a relationship with someone who does not really like you. So, welcome to Christianish. This is the podcast for women who have Bibles but don't have boundaries. And my name is Keshia Rice. I'm a dating coach. I'm also a hypnotherapist. I help women learn how to heal from their old relationship wounds and learn how to attract healthy and loving relationships. So, to this whole idea of being with someone who doesn't really like you, I think a lot of women don't realize that there are men out there who will happily stay in relationships for years and years on end simply because it's convenient. You know, they are getting their needs met. They're with someone who is maybe going half on the bills, who is cooking, who's cleaning, possibly who's providing sex, who is doing all of these things to take care of them. And they know this person is good and is loyal and, won't betray them and all of that. So they will remain in that relationship even if that is not their ideal person or the woman that they truly want to be with. And, I want to be clear that not everyone gets married for love. There are other reasons why people get married or stay in long-term relationships. So if you're listening and you're a woman who doesn't care about things like that, maybe you plan on marrying because, arranged marriage or for money or, any other reason than love, right? Then this isn't for you. But most of the women that I work with or who come to me truly want to be in a relationship in which they feel cherished, in which they can be safe with the person that they're with. They know that that person has their best interest at heart. And if that's the case, you want to watch out for some of these warning signs that I'm about to discuss. So the first one is you're in a relationship with someone for a decent amount of time, enough for it to be a committed relationship, and he cannot articulate what it is that he loves about you. Like, he'll say that he loves you, but when you ask, why do you love me? Either A, is superficial, so all of the answers that he gives are about your looks, or B, it still has nothing to do with your personality and more to do with him, with what you do for him. So he'll talk about how generous you are to him or how well you take care of him, or he'll mention certain things that you've done for him. But it's not about your personality, right? About how smart you are, about how funny you are, what a great personality that you have. None of those things really count, right? The second sign that a man doesn't really like you is he points out or emphasizes what he gets out of being in the relationship. And one of the ways that I see this manifest, in fact, the main way that I see this manifest, is the relationship is not that great in the day to day. But whenever he has an opportunity to do something for clout, so that other people can look at him and talk about what a great man he is, what a great husband he is, what a great boyfriend he is, then he's all up for that. So, you two could be married and living together, for example, and when you're at home, he largely ignores you. He watches TV, he plays video games, all that stuff. But when an anniversary comes or a holiday comes, he goes all out the way to do something big, romantic, to give you gifts and all of that. And you may think, okay, well, he just puts a big emphasis on the holidays, but no, it is a matter of using those occasions to be able to post on social media, write these big posts about how much he loves you. He knows that you're going to take pictures and show off everything that he did for you. So he knows he's going to get credit for those things. But again, when it comes to the day to day, he's MIA, right? When you come to him crying because you've had a hard day at work, he can't be bothered because there's no clout in that. Speaking of you having a hard day at work, that would be the third one. He shows no interest in you. So he doesn't ever really ask about your job and your career. He doesn't really care about your hobbies. Anything that you really like, he doesn't show interest in. Now, again, back to things being about him, you're expected to know his hobbies, know his interests, participate in the things that he likes. But when it comes to you, you're just an accessory, You are a Barbie who knows how to cook and clean. Or you are a Barbie who looks good on his arms. So people will, other men will dap him up and talk about how he's the man because he managed to bag you. But he doesn't really know anything about you as a person. The fourth sign that he doesn't really like you is that he constantly tries to fix you or change you. So if you are the type to always do your hair nicely, wear makeup, things like that, he'll say he loves that in the beginning. But once you get into the relationship, all of a sudden he's talking about how he likes women who are natural. Because, that way there's no competition. He thinks that other men won't find you as attractive. Or, the opposite. He will start telling you that he needs you to step up your game and dress nicer and change what you wear and do your hair and things like that because, again, he wants the clout from showing you off. But either way, he will constantly have these pieces of constructive criticism for how you should look, how you should dress, how you should behave. And oftentimes he'll make it sound like it's coming from a place of concern, right? That he's just trying to help you be your best self. But if he truly loved you, he would love you as you were. And then the fifth sign that that man doesn't really like you is everything in your relationship is transactional. Now, it is one thing to be 50-50 in a relationship. That, you both work and you split bills or things like that. It is another thing completely when a man is so hung up on it that it is down to the penny, making sure that you never get over on him by him, God forbid, paying 5 more cents on a date than you. Or if he does provide, if he does pay on dates and all of that, whenever he does something that you don't like and you get upset, is thrown back in your face, right? It is, well, you can't get mad at me because of all the things that I've done for you. I've done this, I've done that, I buy these things. Or, if you're married and you're in a situation where you are, a stay-at-home wife, stay-at-home mother, or where you do contribute to the bills, but your contribution is much smaller than his. Again, every argument is a pushback on all the things that he does to provide, and therefore you have no right to get mad. But everything in this relationship is transactional. If he does X, then you need to do Y in exchange. If he takes you out, then you need to put out. If he is providing, that means that you need to cook, clean, and never complain. But there's always a transaction happening here. Now, I don't want this to be a negative episode. I really don't. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this was because I was actually recording another video, and in the recording I mentioned that verse, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you, plans for your welfare, to give you a hope and an expected end. And after I finished recording that video, I started thinking more about it, right? And I started thinking about how, if that is true, which, I believe it is, that God has plans to give us hope and expected end, then any relationship in which we are not being truly loved and cherished for who we are, not for who someone's trying to mold us into being or who we're pretending to be. Any relationship that is not like that is not of God, and it is not God's best for us. And I think that sometimes it can be so easy to get caught up, especially as women, to get caught up in the pressure of wanting to get married because, society conditions us to want that, wanting to get married and or start a family, wanting to be in a relationship with someone, that we can put on a pedestal this whole idea of being in a relationship, period, right? And not focusing on what's really important is that God puts people in our lives to show us the love and grace and affection that he has for us. And if we're not getting that, that is not an aligned relationship. And that is not a situation we should allow ourselves to stay in. So let me know if you've ever been in a relationship like what I've described. If you've ever been in a relationship where, looking back on it, you realize that that man clearly didn't like you. And what was the moment that gave you the wake-up call? If you're listening to this on YouTube, you can let me know the answer to that in the description, or message me on social media. I'm at Keshia Rice on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, also on Blue Sky. And yeah, let me know, what was that moment? So I will talk to you later. I love you so much. And in the meantime, don't settle for anything less than God's best for you. Love you. Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Contessa Digital.